Hello, my name is Susanna Sutton, and this is the presentation for my paper. My capstone paper was on recreational and drinking water quality assessment in Venice, Florida. Hello, introduction and relevance of my paper. So I explore two different topics in this paper. The first is the drinking water quality for Venice, Florida, and the second one is the recreational water quality for Venice, Florida. They're relevant because recreational water and drinking water quality are both important topics to explore in the world and in our local communities. And Venice, Florida is a vacation spot for snowbirds as well as during the summer for different families during summer break, spring break. And in addition to that, the residency number in Venice, Florida and surrounding areas is growing exponentially, and our visitor number is ever increasing as well. Water quality is a sustainability issue because poor levels of water quality contribute to the degradation of the ecosystems that drive our tourism industry, and in effect this impacts the local economy. And sustainability, as a reminder, is defined as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to provide for their needs. So the goals of my research paper are to describe the past water quality of Venice, Florida using data from the Florida Department of Health and the City of Venice. I also want to look at how water recreation peak times impact water quality. So this would be those peak summer months that algal blooms are more likely to appear in the waters. And I also want to look at how water quality issues impact the sustainability of our area for future generations. So I had a couple different hypotheses for this paper. I thought that the water quality in Venice, Florida would in effect be managed and monitored in an efficient way for recreational water. I also thought that drinking water quality could possibly use a more close monitoring system for certain contaminants. And I also thought that recreational water quality in peak algal bloom months will correlate with each other. So the results. So my first hypothesis was that recreational water quality in Venice, Florida will have been managed and monitored in an efficient way. And through analyzing a lot of data, I found that this was correct. They took measurements weekly, and they're still taken weekly to this day, and if there was a level of the enterococci bacteria to be concerned about, results were taken more frequently until they went back down to a background normal level, and they do this to adhere to regulation standards. Drinking water quality results. The contaminants tested for in the drinking water supply vary by the year. They don't always test the same contaminants, or at least they don't publish the results of it. And the areas from which we source our drinking water also vary. And these areas are coastal and are susceptible to saltwater intrusion. The sources listed had different treatment levels and systems in place. And in 2019, levels of copper and lead in tap water had not been measured since 2017. So moving into the discussion of recreational water quality, this map, the grayed out area, is the boundary of the watershed, and these blue dots are major outfall pipes in the Sarasota County sewage system. And the intracoastal waterway is right here and is right along the boundary of the watershed, and there's many outfall pipes that are actually included in the watershed. So an alarming fact is that there are a lot of golf clubs in Florida and in Venice alone. One is right across the street from the Venice beach, and golf courses are notorious for leaching contaminants and chemicals into the waterway, and it's right on that watershed boundary, as well as having outfall pipes nearby, and there's actually one that drains into a lake right next to the golf course that then goes straight into the Gulf of Mexico and by the beach. And this outfall pipe system just leaves a lot of room for point and non-point source pollution of our recreational waters. So the second half of my recreational water quality was looking at algal blooms and if they affect the recreational water quality or if snowbird season affects it. Snowbird season is November through April and did not actually have an effect on the levels of enterococci. It actually had a lower level than the summer months, which are May through October. The average of enterococci level data from 14 years of data for November through April was 16.3 colony forming units per 100 milliliters, as opposed to 1,777.6 colony forming units per 100 milliliters for May through October. And algal blooms actually support enterococci populations by providing a stable environment filled with nutrients for them to survive off of. Now we're moving into the discussion on drinking water quality. So this graph to the left shows the annual high and low sodium levels present in drinking water for Sarasota County, which is the county that Venice is in. In 2014, they didn't record sodium levels, so it's not on the graph. This is one supporting evidence for the fact that the water quality monitoring for drinking water is not as great as it could be and has room to improve. High levels tended to stay high, and the low levels tended to stay low between 15 to 30 parts per million. And the lowest recorded low is 15, while the highest recorded high is 86 parts per million, which is a dramatic variance in sodium levels. Each year from 2018 to 2020, more water was taken from the Peace River area than any other area, and also the amounts that came from them increased. The highest high is a larger number with minimal change in the lowest low when they come from the Peace River area more and more. And they all get their water from the Floridan aquifer. Alright, closing. So this paper covered 3 hypotheses. The first was that water quality in Venice, Florida has been managed and monitored in an efficient way for recreational water quality. Drinking water quality is not monitored close enough for certain contaminants like lead and the sodium. And I think that recreational water quality and peak algal bloom times correlate. And these are my sources. Thank you.